Okay guys, so we're going to make some chocolate chip cookies today as well because the cookie jar is empty again. And so I'm going to tell you or show you how we make chocolate chip cookies. So I got a cup of butter here. You can use salted or unsalted, your decision there. And we're going to melt it in the skillet. And we're going to caramelize it, basically. Going to just get it that little nutty flavor. It really makes really good cookies when you do that. So what we're doing here is we're just going to brown this butter. I love the taste of browned butter in my chocolate chip cookies especially, but it's just really good in every cookie. It just makes a really chewy center with crispy edges, which is the ultimate cookie to me. So I know you can hear my background noise. That's my husband watching TV as usual. Now, it is a little hard to tell the color in a cast iron skillet, but honestly, that's all I have is cast iron skillets. So, as far as skillets go. And I can tell by looking when it gets to the color I want it, but it's going to be a light amber. Now, when I'm done with this, I'm going to pour it into the dish that we're going to make the cookies in. And just let it cool down a little bit. I don't want it to come back to solid, but I don't want it to be super, super hot either. So okay, so we're just going to pour it into here. See how it's got all that crunchy stuff? You want all of that. So we're going to let this sit in here, and we're just going to let it cool. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our granulated sugar in. If you can see, it's not as runny as it was. It's kind of semi-solid. That's what you're wanting. Okay, so we're going to add in a cup of granulated sugar. We're just going to mix that. Next thing we'll add in, after we get that and all mixed in, we're going to add in a cup of packed brown sugar. And we're going to do the same thing, just go add it in. Make sure that all of the butter and the sugar is mixed together really well. Kind of like wet sand at this point. Okay. Now at this time I'm going to add 2 eggs. So now if you have fresh eggs like I do, I get them from my chickens, you're going to want to break them in a container away from whatever you're cooking on, because if you get a fertilized egg, you're not going to want a fertilized egg in your cookies or whatever. So there's number 2. There's a feather on that one. Okay. So we're adding in 2 eggs. And we're just going to mix these in. So this is week 2 of our cooking series. Now at this point, I'm going to show you what we got here. Pick it up so you can see it. See how it's just kind of dripping off your spatula or spoon or whatever. Okay, we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I make my own vanilla. My middle name is Kay, so that's why it says Kay's homemade vanilla. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Also, I like to add in, I make my own almond paste. And so I'm going to add in about half of a teaspoon of almond paste. It just makes a really nice change to the cookie recipe. So now we're going to just mix this in. Make sure everything's good and mixed. Okay. I made me a little hole. I'm going to add in, this is a teaspoon of baking soda and a half a teaspoon of baking powder. And then also a half of a teaspoon of kosher salt. I'm going to add those into this mixture until they're all incorporated in there. A lot of people put them in their flour, but I feel that if you put it in your wet mix, that it mixes better. So make sure everything's all mixed. Okay, at this point, you're going to have pretty fluid. It's pretty fluid. I'll get it up here too, let you see it. You'll actually kind of roll in the bowl. Okay, so we have 3 cups of flour. So whenever I put my flour in, I run it through my sifter. Let me see if I can get this up so you guys can see. So we're just gonna pour it all into the sifter. Sift it in. Isn't that cool? Sift it in there. You want a really light, and you know, a lot of people don't sift, but the sifting really does make a pretty good difference. So make sure it's all out. Set that aside, and then we will continue mixing. We're just going to fold it, fold all of that beautiful flour into our wet mixture. All-purpose flour is what I use. So And we're just going to stir this until there's no more white showing. Won't take forever. Well, that's how long you do it. Keep turning it over till everything's mixed in. Man, that looks good. I'll pull everything in off these little sides too. Because I don't want any flour when I go to pull my cookies. I don't want any flour dropping in there. You can use like I said, you can use a mixer to make your cookies, but I just like doing them like this. Okay, so we don't have any more white left. The next thing that I add in is about a cup of nuts, or a half a cup. We'll just see. Let's do the whole cup. These are pecans. So I got a cup of pecans going in. We're just going to mix, 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 mix. And you know what? Honestly, you could leave these like that, like this, and then they'd be good. But we're not going to. We're adding chocolate chips. So we're just going to mix these in really well. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is fold in some chocolate chips and some, as you saw me, I have got some milk chocolate chunks that I chunked up earlier. So we're just going to mix those in as well. Get them all mixed in. I can't wait to eat these cookies, y'all. So I try to get them as mixed in as I can because I want some chocolate chips and nuts in every single cookie. So we mix them well. Okay. The next thing we'll do is put them in the cookie sheets. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get the cookie scoop. We want to scoop some cookies onto our cookie sheet. Okay. Now usually I would just go ahead and bake these, but I'm going to have to put them in the refrigerator until the bread gets done. So it is what it is. I'm get about a dozen on my cookie sheet. So these will go into the refrigerator, and this will go into the refrigerator until the bread is done. And then once it's done, we'll go ahead and bake these, and we'll have some yummy chocolate chip cookies. Okay guys, now we have the cookies in the oven at 375. They'll bake for 8 to 12 minutes. We'll pull them out and enjoy some yummy chocolate chip cookies.